Well, Victor Gao is the director of the Chinese National Association for International Studies and joins us now from Beijing. Thanks very much for being with us. So how confident are you at this point of China's efforts to calm this down?
Well, first of all, the tension is rising dangerously on the Korean Peninsula with the United States, including its President Donald Trump and the regime in DPRK publicly engaged in this tirade, shouting about war against each other. This is very dangerous and this needs to calm down. Secondly, I think the talk between President Xi Jinping of China and President Donald Trump of the United States is very encouraging. That means there is the channel of communication between China and the United States, and the leaders can talk freely about how to deal with the DPRK nuclear weapon program and the launch vehicle program. Thirdly, I think at this particular moment, restraint is really required, and the United States really should avoid sending the wrong message of burning all the bridges for the eventual negotiation, and also avoid sending out the very confusing messages. President Donald Trump is talking about one thing, Secretary of State Tillerson is talking about very, very different things, and their messages need to be reconciled. We all want to achieve the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, but major powers like China and the United States need to be on the same page and talk about this very dangerous situation more or less in the same tone, because otherwise you really will have a situation where DPRK will go further and further in the direction of nuclearization and miniaturization of the warhead.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about being on the same page, as you say. If the U.S. were to attack North Korea first, China would defend North Korea. If North Korea were to strike the United States first, China would remain neutral. In neither of those two scenarios does China support the U.S. What are we to make of that and the perception of China as an honest broker in all of this?
No, first of all, I think it's too early to speculate about a military attack by the United States against the DPRK. I think there is still much room for negotiation and diplomacy. I don't think President Donald Trump or the U.S. government have reached the conclusion that they want to be prepared for all the consequences that may come out of a military attack of the United States against DPRK. That military attack will really be very, very traumatic, and eventually the consequences may be much worse than whatever we have today. And I think President Donald Trump and the U.S. government, the U.S. military really need to think twice before they go into that very dangerous direction. Secondly, I think we all need to continue to work with DPRK, continue to put the pressure on DPRK, and try eventually to convince it out of this nuclear weapon program, because for DPRK to have the nuclear program is the wrong thing, and we need to stop them from doing the wrong thing again and again. I'm personally confident that if all the countries, especially China and the United States, do the right thing, we can achieve that goal eventually.
Victor Gao, we are unfortunately out of time. Good to get your thoughts on this. Thanks very much for being with us.